Hello and welcome to another episode of the Manifest podcast. I am so grateful to be here with you at this point in time. And however you managed to be here, however our paths synchronistically crossed, I'm just so grateful because there is a sea of information out there right now. And for me to be able to spend this time with you and for this message to land with you at this moment, this exact moment, I don't take that lightly. And I think that there's synchronistic meaning behind it. So today, as you know, and if you are new around here, this is a show about manifestation and creativity and intuition. And the way that it has worked for the longest time is that I feel this intuitive nudge to show up behind the microphone, and there's a message or something that I just know it's time to share. So today it was this: the last 2 years changed everything. And so this is a bit of a reflective episode today on, the way that my life has unfolded over the last 2 years. And it's unlike anything that I've probably recorded here before. There will be things, though, that you can take away from today's episode that will leave you feeling more empowered and inspired on your own journey. I remember when I first started this podcast, probably around, 7 years ago now? Gosh, I can't believe it's been that long. And I remember that I had to take podcast courses and lessons and speaker training and all that kind of stuff to show up and to share from my heart. And it was like I needed all of this stuff to feel confident to speak my truth. And now I know that life has a really funny way of training you. It just does. And that you know when you're ready to show up and to share a message or to create something. It's like this light bulb moment where the universe, God, source energy, divine intelligence, whatever you call it, is coming together at a convergence point to say, hey, guess what? It's go time. And so the first reminder that I want to share with you today is that more often than not, a season of creative energy or creativity or creating something new, whether it's art or writing or speaking your truth or creating a podcast for that matter, it usually follows a season of struggle. And the reason and the purpose for seasons of struggle in your life is to strengthen you. And I woke up very, very early this morning and I went outside on my balcony and I meditated, which is what I do most days. I like to do that, whether it's dawn or whether it's dusk, because my little apartment here, it overlooks the Las Vegas mountains. And so it's beautiful. We have some beautiful sunsets and sunrises too. And so I was thinking about the heart as how do I put this? Like an energetic piece of us. And that it's a muscle, right? The heart is a muscle. And that it's so often said that if you go to the gym and you want to build up your strength and your muscles, you have to break them down to build them up. And I was thinking, well, what if that's the same with our hearts and what our hearts experience, that breakdown to then get stronger? And I can tell you from my personal experience over the last few years, my heart has had to go through I'm doing air quotes. It's gone through a breakdown period to get stronger in my voice, in my mission, in the way that I show up for my family, for my friends, in my partnership. And so the heart has this energetic responsibility to carry us through our most difficult seasons. And it strengthens it strengthens our ability to love at a more compassionate level too. And so today's episode, like I said, is unlike anything that I've recorded before, because for the past 2 years, my life has been unraveling and rebuilding in ways I could never have imagined. And like I said, I've experienced heartbreak over 2 years ago now. And I've experienced profound uncertainty. Like I've been talking about uncertainty and emotional empowerment to do with manifestation for the longest time. And I think, it's not even a think, it's an I know. You teach what you need to learn. And so for the last 2 years, it's really been an embodiment practice for me to go back to understanding how to navigate uncertainty. And I've also during this time had to let go of the life that I thought that I was going to live, even though it's like a complete bulldozing of my reality to build it from the ground up. And what's really exciting about that is that there's now been a turning point where it's like, okay, I've got some spaciousness now to create with this newfound awareness. And there were some moments, let me tell you, when I felt completely powerless. And that doesn't feel good. There were moments when I couldn't fix or even navigate emotionally what was happening around me. And this is a lot longer than just 2 years. This is like, I don't know, I want to take it back like 10 years. I was having a conversation with my little sister the other day who lives in Melbourne. And we were talking about all of the things that we've been through as a family. And, you know, it was like we were both acknowledging that there were moments when the future felt impossible to imagine. And so if you've been feeling the same, like when will this season move on to the next part of the journey? And if you've been following my journey, you'll know that these past 2 years, you know, they've included my divorce, living in different states, being away from my daughters for certain periods of time, financial uncertainty, rebuilding my career, but also restructuring my career because I have been writing and sharing things online now since 2007 when I first launched my brand. And it's really about learning to begin again. And I think if you look at most people that are in the personal development, self-help space, a lot of them have these reinvention times where the universe invites them to begin again. And I'm sure that if you have lived any life thus far, and it shouldn't be the focus, by the way. I just want to, before I go on to this next thought, I just want to remind you that the purpose of each and every day is to seek as much joy and presence as possible. And then there are moments of reflection where you're like, wow, you know, I never thought that this was part of my plan. And yet, looking back now, I can honestly say something really surprising, that I don't think that these last 2 years that have been tremendously difficult broke me. I think they actually revealed me and my strengths. And I think that if you look at your own life, you can see, well, if you've navigated illness or relationship breakdown or divorce or whatever it is, that on the other side of that, you get stronger. And I think something happens when almost everything that's familiar to you disappears. And there was this one thing, though, that I kept returning to, that I've spoken a lot about lately. And that's the fact that I started creating. I painted. I was writing. I wrote my latest book. I'm currently working on my newest book. I journaled. I quietly sat in meditation. And it's not because I thought that creativity would solve all of my problems like waving a magic wand. It was because creating reminded me that I was still in the game, that I was still alive, and that there was something that wanted to come through me. And then it was one morning while I was painting, something became incredibly clear. Because when I feel inspired by something, I just jump out of bed and I'm like, okay, I got to get up. I need to write. I need to paint. I need to do something. And it wasn't the painting that changed my life. It was changing me. And it was like this light bulb moment where I realized that every act of creation was quietly transforming the person that I was becoming, the person creating it. Do you see what I'm saying here? It was very, very different from other things that I've done before. So as you might remember, I've been teaching manifestation now for nearly 20 years. I have taught people vision board workshops. I have done intention setting worksheets and workshops, and millions of people have read my blog articles and my writing, and I've sold, I think, close to 300,000 books now. And what's really consistent is that there was a new layer of the teachings that needed to be revealed. And it's like, I went through like this plateau of feeling very disgruntled with my calling, with my mission of teaching people how to create their own reality. And my goodness, I went through this season of almost, and this is, my goodness, this is almost like I'm talking to a friend right now, but forgive me for my forwardness. But it almost felt like I was very almost resentful of the manifestation industry because of what I could see happening with, like the rapid acceleration of technology and marketing and all that kind of stuff. And it was just icky to me, where I didn't feel in alignment with what I was seeing online, even though, going back, 7-8 years, the company that I was part of, we were pushing always the manifestation teachings. And I felt this disconnect from who I was and the marketing machine that was proliferating who I was out there. This is a really interesting point here. My partner, John, he used to listen to my podcast. That's one of the ways that we connected. Many years ago, he listened to it for a few years before he reached out to me and we became friends. And he said that he had no idea how different I was in real life versus on the podcast. He said it was actually kind of shocking to him that there was like public manifestation Sarah, and then there was real Sarah. And then what's great is, and I've heard this from a few of you that listen to the show now, is that you've heard the difference now. You've heard the shift that has internally happened between marketing manifesting Sarah and the real teachings that can come through because they're authentic and they're not edited and polished. And, I don't have a team. It's just me. So there's no distortion in the message. And I think when you've got a team of copywriters, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong if you're doing it this way, just so don't come after me, please. But what I'm saying is that I believe that we're entering into a space where it's not about experts that have a team that speak on their behalf. It's people that have lived experience that can teach and guide people from embodied wisdom. And maybe this has always been the case. Maybe I'm that naive that I just skip that step, or maybe it's my own rite of passage that I've been able to see now. But I know and understand that the right people will be attracted to your teachings, your mission, your message at the right time. And so I tried a few different things on my journey of disillusionment with my work. I tried to hide, which doesn't work. I tried to hide for so many years. I tried to reinvent the wheel, so to speak. And I still do this, and I love doing this. I do a lot of mentoring with writers that are working on books. And, I thought, well, maybe I should just teach people about writing. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's going to be no metaphysics around that, but it always goes back to energy. Always, always, always. And I can try and ignore it and it just rises to the surface. And then on a very personal level, it was like, well, what about my faith? What about my spirituality? Because there were some points during my journey, not that I lost faith by any means, but it was like, what if manifestation doesn't work? What if it's not how we think it is? And it was those questions that actually broke down to make spaciousness, create space for this new philosophy to rise up. And so as I was painting, as I was writing, I never stopped creating, even during my moments of doubt. I was always recording a meditation or putting together a program that I knew that what I was doing was I was creating the programs that I needed, that would help me one step in front of the other to continue to move forward. And so every act of creation was changing me. And that realization changed everything. And so as I mentioned, for almost 20 years, I've taught meditation. I've written books about it. I've recorded the meditations, the endless podcasts. I've shared everything that I've learned with millions of people. But suddenly, I saw manifestation from an entirely different perspective. And this is the biggest kicker of them all. I no longer believe that manifestation begins with attraction. It's not like, and well, this is probably part of a much deeper discussion. But I believe it begins with creation. I do believe in the law of attraction. I do believe that our thoughts become things, our feelings, our vibration is what attracts. But the first thing to do if you want to set the tone and lead with confidence is to be creative. That's the key. And that single notion, that new philosophy, has become the foundation of everything that I'm creating now. And I call it creative manifestation. And not because it's another manifestation technique, because I think we can all agree that those have been done to death, but because I believe that we've been asking the wrong question. So bear with me here. Instead of asking, and you may want to write this down, instead of asking, how do I attract what I want? You flip the question and you start asking, what can I create today? What can I create today? So you're giving. And we all know that being of service is the fastest way to attract what you want, right? But also being of service is creating. You're creating for others, whether you are creating entertainment, inspiration, nourishment, amusement, whatever it is. You don't even have to share. You can wait until you feel ready to share. But what can I create today instead of how do I attract what I want? And because every act of creativity changes the creator, when the creator changes, the life begins to change too. And you'll notice that it slowly chips away at constructing a new reality. And I've had to dismantle my entire life to get to this awareness. And you don't have to wait until life is perfect or you feel inspired or you feel more confident. You simply begin. And it's just feeling that inspiration sweep through your awareness, whether it's getting a canvas, that first brush stroke, whether it's writing something or a conversation or courageous step or whatever it is. Perhaps that's what manifestation has been asking of us all along. Not to wait for life to happen, but to participate in creating it. And so if these past 2 years have taught me anything, it's this. There will always be things that you cannot control. You can't. You'll be blue in the face by the time you figure out that you can't control what is happening. But there is almost always something that we can create, whether it's a new thought, a new habit, a new beginning. And sometimes, and this is where it gets really interesting, that's just enough to change everything. So if this resonates with you, which I hope it does, and you might need to listen to this podcast episode a few times so that you truly understand what I'm speaking about here, and I'm going to be speaking about creative manifestation a lot. I would love to invite you to something that I've just created. It's called the 7-Day Creative Manifestation Challenge. It's completely free for the free 7-day trial. And over 7 days, I'll guide you through short audio lessons and simple creative practices that will help you to experience this philosophy for yourself. You have to experience it. I'm not going to say this lightly, or this is not something that I'm trying to gatekeep, because I have been through this many times. I have encouraged my clients to go through this as well. And the link is in the show notes, or you can go to creativemanifestation.com and you can sign up, join me for 7 days. You can cancel anytime. There are no contracts. It's a really cool community. There are people from all over the world that are just starting to try out this 7-day creative manifestation challenge. There are already people that are getting some really cool results. And by results, I mean they're starting to crack open new levels and layers of inspiration. So if you don't know what to write about, if you don't know what to draw or paint, if you don't know the next steps on your creative journey, this will help manifest that for you. And you'll see some pretty cool opportunities and synchronicities begin to attract themselves into your life as a result of joining the challenge. So click on the link in the show notes or go to creativemanifestation.com. Thank you so much for being here with me for today. Thank you for walking this journey with me. And also thank you for reminding me over and over again that even in the hardest seasons of our lives, we can still create. And sometimes, most often than not, that's where everything begins to change. It's actually a very exciting thing. So until next time, stop waiting and start creating. Lots of love. Bye for now.